you've weaved in bits of magic realism in this book, right? It's a personal favorite of mine. For example, all of the women in the Marte family have a gift, except for the youngest one. Well, her gift comes in another way, right? And of course, this is something that we see throughout Latin American literature, Gabriel Marquez. When you think of your work in the context of either Latin American or US Latino literature, what legacy do you hope to carve out?
I'm glad that you pointed that out because I think this novel was intentionally trying to be in some of the traditions that we've seen specifically from Latin American writers, right? Laura Esquivel, who wrote Water for Chocolate. You mentioned Marquez, Isabel Allende, right? The many ways that folks coming from particular parts of the world turn to magic as a way to create structure and understanding of really complicated times, but also that a lot of us believe in magic, believe in the supernatural. Don't think of it as fantasy in the ways that American literature contextualizes fantasy, right? As a separate world, as world building. I grew up in a house where your dreams mattered and they meant things, and you were going to play the lotto numbers based off of what you dreamt. And so for me, it didn't seem surprising to write about that. But I did want to think, well, what does Caribbean magical realism sound like? And what does a New York Dominican magical realism look like? And so it is, I think, a little bit funky and a little bit hip hop and a little bit urban and a little bit and a lot of bit Dominican, right? We have someone who can foretell the future through dreams. We have someone who can tell if you're lying. And then we have someone who has a taste for lines where she can make things with lines that, invoke feelings in people of nostalgia. We have someone who has an alpha vagina and everything that means. Like it's not it's not your grandmother's magical realism, but it is, right? Like it's this mix of things. And so I hope my legacy is one where it's how did I carry forth a tradition that I think I've inherited, and how did I reinvent it and pass it along just a little bit different with a little bit more spice to the next generation to do their own with.